All right, welcome to this explainer. Today, we are taking Tim Ferriss's massive 700-page beast of a book and distilling it into a highly actionable masterclass. We're not just going to sit here and read inspirational quotes at you. No, we are deconstructing the actual gritty routines, the daily habits, and the specific tactics of billionaires, icons, and world-class performers so you can actually apply them to your own life. You see, Ferriss originally put these notes together as a personal compendium of recipes. Basically, he wanted to learn things once and use them forever. And today, we're bringing those exact recipes directly to you.
So, here's our game plan. We'll kick things off by busting the myth of the self-made individual. Then we'll dive into specific recipes for high performance, check out some incredibly quirky habits these titans share, talk about how to borrow their shared DNA, and finally, we'll wrap up by upgrading your very own mental operating system.
Starting with Section 1, the myth of self-made. We've got to shatter this massive illusion right out of the gate, because honestly, the idea of the flawless, self-made icon is incredibly intimidating, and it holds a lot of us back.
To really hammer this home, let's look at Arnold Schwarzenegger. In his foreword to the book, Arnold points out that yes, he moved to America alone with basically just a gym bag, and he built an absolutely incredible career, but he absolutely refuses to be called self-made. He argues that taking that title completely discounts every single person and every piece of advice that helped him get there. He says he stands on the shoulders of giants, from his parents to mentors like Joe Weider, who actually brought him to America, all the way to Lucille Ball, who gave him his very first big break in Hollywood. The takeaway here? We all need fuel. Without the help and advice of others, our gears just grind to a halt.
And that's exactly why this isn't just some collection of nice-sounding platitudes. It is a highly practical toolkit, literally designed to help you tackle your own personal obstacles. Like Ferriss points out, some of the tactics in here are going to make sense to you immediately, while others are a bit more subtle. You might literally be daydreaming in the shower weeks from now and suddenly have this massive aha moment. It's all about pattern recognition, helping you see the underlying fabric of how success actually works.
So do yourself a favor and just completely drop your imposter syndrome right now. You absolutely do not need to be perfect. The titans you look up to, they don't have superpowers. They're just imperfect humans who have figured out how to maximize one or two unique strengths. Seriously, everyone is fighting a battle you know nothing about, and everyone struggles. Success doesn't happen because you magically have zero weaknesses. It happens because you discover your unique strengths and then you build deliberate habits around them.
Which brings us to Section 2, recipes for high performance. Once we accept that these elite performers are just humans, how do we actually reverse engineer what they do?
Well, Ferriss introduces this absolutely brilliant concept called PEDs. Now, we aren't talking about performance-enhancing drugs, but performance-enhancing details. We're talking about bite-sized rules and tiny habits that you can just slide right into your daily routine. Because here's the secret. Dramatic 10x results, they rarely come from superhuman effort alone. They come from small things done consistently over time. You don't need to go out and run a 100-mile race or completely reinvent your whole life overnight. You just need the right PEDs to pour a little gasoline on your progress.
But to really grasp why these tools are so crucial, we need to talk about extreme stress. We have to ask ourselves the exact same intense questions these titans do. Like, when you push the human mind and body to the absolute limit, what actually causes a person to snap?
There's this crazy story from Spartan Race founder Joe DeSena that answers this perfectly. He talks about an Olympic-level downhill skier who completely broke down, literally started crying during an extreme physical challenge. Now, this guy was incredibly tough in his own domain on the slopes, right? But when he was faced with a totally unfamiliar task, which was just chopping wood for hours, his entire mental framework collapsed. Throwing someone completely out of their element like that reveals why mental resilience is so vital. It shows us exactly why we need new operating rules that will hold up when our normal routines completely fail us.
All right, Section 3, quirky habits of titans. Let's dig into some of the surprising shared habits these elite performers use to build that rock-solid resilience.
When you start analyzing these folks, you notice this rapid-fire pattern of bizarre yet highly repeatable daily habits. For example, over 80% of the people interviewed practice some form of daily mindfulness or meditation. They treat it like a meta skill that improves absolutely everything else by keeping them grounded and present. Then you have these weird physical quirks, like a lot of the older guys completely skip breakfast, or many of them use special cooling pads on their beds to hack their sleep quality. And how about this one? Listening to a single song on repeat for extreme focus. Alex Honnold, the famous free solo climber, he literally loops the soundtrack of The Last of the Mohicans to act as an external mantra when he climbs.
It is fascinating how specific, yet totally repeatable these weird little strategies are. Okay, moving to Section 4, Borrowing Shared DNA. You're probably wondering, how on earth do I apply this to my own life? Well, success leaves clues, and there is a shared DNA in greatness that you can absolutely borrow. Think about the self-identified spirit animals of these three elite athletes. You have big wave surfer Laird Hamilton as the killer whale, volleyball legend Gabby Reese as the hawk, and strength coach Brian McKenzie as the raven. Now, obviously, it's not actually about the animals. It's that whether someone identifies with the raw, fluid power of a killer whale or the sharp, expansive vision of a hawk, they all bring entirely different energetic ingredients to the table. Your goal here isn't to copy one person exactly. Your goal is to piece together micro-ingredients from a bunch of different mentors to create your own unique hybrid recipe for success.
But to borrow that DNA, you need the right mindset, which brings us to the canvas strategy. It's simple. If you want great mentors, you have to be a great mentee. If you want to lead, you've got to learn how to follow first. Historical giants like Ben Franklin, or even legendary football coach Bill Belichick, used this exact strategy early on. You have to be completely willing to obey, to learn, and to clear the path for the people above you long before you ever earn the right to command. Basically, you've got to check your ego at the door.
Which brings us to our final section, upgrading your operating system. Let's take everything we've talked about and turn it into immediate, actionable value for your day-to-day life. Here are 3 highly specific tactics with massive ROI that you can start using today. First up, cultivate the on-off switch. Elite performers like Jiu-Jitsu world champion Marcelo Garcia can literally take a nap right before a massive championship match. His ability to completely turn off his stress is exactly what allows him to turn it on with such explosive intensity when he needs to. Second, practice the last 3 turns. This one comes from chess prodigy Josh Waitzkin, who learned from an Olympic skier that the most important turns on any ski slope are the last 3 before you get on the ski lift. Why? Because you internalize those specific movements on the ride back up. So apply this to your own life. Always end your workday or your workout with high-quality mechanics so your brain internalizes that quality overnight. And finally, number 3, practice fear setting. Write down and clearly define your absolute worst-case scenarios so they completely lose their psychological power over you.
We're going to wrap up this explainer with a profound challenge for you, inspired by billionaire Peter Thiel. I want you to really ask yourself, what is your moonshot? Like if someone handed you endless resources to solve one massive problem, what would you pursue? And maybe even more importantly, as you sit here right now, what are your current limiting beliefs actually costing you? Think about how you might be quietly complicit in creating the exact conditions you say you don't want. The tools to change your life are sitting right in front of you. So the only question left is, what are you going to build with them?